Brazil has incredible legends like Curupira, Sachi, and many others, which I'll share with you in this video. Some you will know and others probably not. Did you know a legend explains why we shouldn't keep saying the devil's name at night? Come with me to find out more. Please subscribe, rate the video, and leave a like if you can, as it really motivates me to continue making videos. One day, a Tuxaua was sailing against the current of a river, but eventually he became very frightened. He began to notice more and more the noise of a waterfall that had been left far behind, and it seemed that instead of going forward, he was going more and more backwards, and the noise of the waterfall only increased. He started to row harder, but it was of no use. The noise of the waterfall was getting closer and closer. He was terrified. Then he looked up and saw a bird flying over his head, and he started to shout at it, "Bird, please lend me your wings so I can reach my tribe." The moment the Indian finished saying this, the bird dove into the waters and the river disappeared. And at the same time, that noise of the waterfall began to get lower and lower until it also disappeared. The Indian then began to quickly slide his canoe down the river until he reached solid ground. When he arrived at the board, he was greeted with great joy and many hugs by his companions. After being gone for a while, I thought he got lost. To celebrate his return, the tribe decided to have a party that night. But during the dances at the party, the Tuxaua began to notice that there was an unknown warrior who was talking to his bride. He was a tall, handsome, and strong Indian, wearing a necklace made of many teeth around his neck. Some were from animals he had killed and others from enemies he had defeated. On his body were many feathers that were very beautiful, and on his head were 2 wings that greatly resembled the bird that had saved Tuxaua. As you can imagine, he didn't allow that to persist, correct? Because being a cuckold is one thing, but being a submissive cuckold is another story. So he went there and took his bride away from that unknown warrior. But at that moment, all the Indians saw that the warrior did nothing, and they kicked him out of the party for being a coward. The Indian silently approached the river and threw himself into the water. The Indians who saw this thought he was trying to escape, so they went after him. And the moment the Indians got into their canoes, the sound of a waterfall began to grow louder and louder, and a bird began to scream in the sky. The Indians were scared, but they couldn't do anything. They were simply swallowed by the waters. Curupira is a guardian god of the forests who takes care of the forest and everything within it. That's why before a very heavy rain, you hear a kind of knocking on the trunk of the trees. It would be Curupira warning the forest dwellers of the danger that is coming. You probably know what Curupira looks like, right? The boy with red hair and feet turned backwards. As I said, he protects the forests. And if you are a hunter and hunt more than you need, for example, hunting for sport, killing an animal that is going to have offspring, or even worse, killing the offspring, then you are an enemy of Curupira. Then he decides whether to chase you, drive you mad, or kill you. The Indians tell many stories about Curupira. In one of them, they say that he found a hunter who was sleeping under a tree. He woke the Indian and requested a piece of his heart to satisfy his hunger. The hunter, who killed the monkey, took its heart and gave it to Curupira. Curupira ate it, enjoyed it, and wanted more. The hunter said he would give the rest of the heart to him, but in return he also wanted Curupira's heart. Curupira thought that the heart he had just eaten was the Indian's own, so he saw no problem in giving his. But when he ripped out his own heart, he fell dead and the Indian ran to his house. A year later, the Indian recalled Curupira's green teeth and resolved to take them. So he went back to the forest, found Curupira's body, and started to pull out the teeth. But right at that moment, Curupira resurrected. He thanked the hunter for breaking his spell and gave him a magical arrow. With this arrow, he became the tribe's chief, and all was well until he chose to tell his wife everything that had occurred. He revealed the secret and dropped dead at that instant. And one night the ox cart was walking and arriving on the road. It had left the old village and was on its way to a chapel carrying a bell. There at the chapel there were already a lot of people. They were all waiting for the arrival of the bell. They were anxious. Everything was prepared for the baptism of the bronze, but the cart had already traveled all day, and the oxen were tired, and even the carter, whose name was John, was kind of dozing off already, but he always woke up and nudged the oxen. At one point, he began singing a rather melancholy tune. The oxen enjoyed it and quickened their pace. John fell asleep again, causing the oxen to stop. Upon waking and seeing the cart had stopped, he began complaining. Damn. John prodded the oxen as an owl, which was actually an angel unbeknownst to him, flew over the cart. He was trying to warn him that talking about the devil at that hour, and on top of that carrying a bell to a church, was not a good idea. And shortly after, John shouted again, "Damn!" But this time he responded, "Who called my name?" The carter trembled at the voice. To scare away the fear, he started whistling and continued singing the song as the cart kept moving. But then John fell asleep again. He woke up and the cart was stopped again. He was furious, prodded the oxen and said, "Devil, hey, I'm right here," said the devil. The devil began to drag the carter, the cart, the oxen, the bell, and everything else to a pond. John had no time to ask for help, but he didn't die. He's still there to this day with his cart underwater, walking with it, whistling. Whoever passes by Lent there might end up hearing his whistle. Some residents of Jericoacoara say that there is an enchanted city under the lighthouse, and that inside it there is a princess. The entrance to this city is a cave or a hole that is near the beach, and you can only enter it after the tide goes down. Even if you go in there, you won't be able to do much because this cave is closed by a huge iron gate. Right after this gate is the city. Right in the middle of it is the princess, who is enchanted. Despite being very beautiful, she is in the form of a golden serpent. The only thing human about her is her head and her feet. According to the legend, to free the princess from this curse, one needs to pour over her a vase full of human blood. The day someone decides to sacrifice themselves for this, the city gates will open on their own. Using the blood, draw a cross on the snake to bring back the princess. And with her, she will bring treasures and indescribable wonders. And along with all this, palaces and castles that this world has never seen will rise from the earth. In Jericoacoara, there's an old sorcerer named Kairos. One day, he decided to break the curse of that city. And with a bunch of other people, he entered the cave. And when he got close to the gate, the princess was already waiting. She was eager to be disenchanted. But at that moment, various noises began to come out of the city, such as the crowing of roosters, the moaning of people, the sounds of sheep, of oxen, and many other things. And all the people who went along with the wizard were scared because they didn't exactly know what to expect from that city. And there was one more problem for the gate to open. As I told you, someone had to sacrifice themselves. But no one wanted to do that because everyone was waiting for the princess's transformation to try to marry her. Since no one wanted to sacrifice themselves, Kairos couldn't do anything, so they left there. But when they left there, they ended up denouncing Kairos, and he ended up getting arrested. To this day, Kairos remains imprisoned in an undisclosed location. In other words, the only victim of this whole story ended up being Kairos himself. Meanwhile, the enchanted city is still there. And the princess too. They are waiting for some hero to sacrifice himself. That's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Like for more Brazilian legends. If this gets enough likes, I'll post another one soon. Thanks for your support. Follow me on my other social media for more content. Until next time, thanks, bye.